Well, back in the house. You want to be down? That's Brandy. That's Brandy. You want to be down with me? You want to be down with Angelsnupnup7? Thank you for joining me. Angelsnupnup7 in the house. And of course, this is the Reality's Temple on earth. As always, in the name of our ancestors, peace forever and always. I am too busy for this stand. It won't stay put. It's too heavy. It won't stay put. But I'm also your soul brother, number one. It would seem to many that the topic that I've chosen for these few minutes, might sound a little arrogant, but it's not. It's on point. It's true. I'm gonna tell you why. Angelsnupnup7 is more effective than young Pharaoh N.O.I documentary. I'm gonna tell you why. It's not arrogance. I know the thing, and I don't take nothing away from young Pharaoh. That he did do a very nice job at bringing documentation to support his theory or his opinion or his own belief. So, in essence, he did a very good job. And we should applaud young Pharaoh, his efforts. I thank him very much because it is needed. But at the same time, just exactly how effective has the documentary been? It's been very effective. The conversation is there, people are talking. I don't take nothing away from young Pharaoh. I want to make that perfectly clear. But at the same time, I am saying that what I present is more effective than young Pharaoh because that's where I come from. I come from the same place that the believers and those who are listening, what they see. Young Pharaoh never was part of the Nation of Islam. So what I really speak about is his documentation. What makes me and what I bring to this topic more effective is that this is where I come from. I was introduced to the teachings of Elijah Muhammad when I could almost say 7, 8 or 9 years old, when Elijah Muhammad was with us, was alive. I was very attracted to those teachings, and my relatives was in the Nation of Islam while Elijah Muhammad was here. They are still under Farrakhan. They are still believers in Elijah Muhammad to this day. Now, why do we want to speak this way? Am I speaking this way because I'm a disgruntled employee? Am I angry with Louis Farrakhan for some personal reason? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very disappointed in Minister Farrakhan because basically he told me a lie. The teachings is false. I'm a young person, I'm a young man, and maybe you did not do it intentionally, but you lied to me. I was lied to. The teachings is a lie. It's false. It's no better than the Christianity that we made mockery of. It's no different. It's a lie. You lied to me. Minister Farrakhan went to all these celebrity funerals, and when his own believer, which was my uncle, died, he didn't send a letter, an email, send a message, nothing. So yeah, I don't like that either. So there are some things personally that I dislike about Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. My disgruntled employee, I've really enjoyed my experience. If not for the Nation of Islam, there would be no Angelsnupnup7. And like King Noble said, that's a fact. That's a fact. The Nation of Islam, without Elijah Muhammad, without Farrakhan, the chances of me speaking to you in the manner that I am presenting myself to us, chances are it wouldn't happen. I'm very sure it would not happen. It was those teachings, it was that influence that caused me to be who and what I am today. In fact, I would even go to say, and when I find it, I'm going to re-upload a video. I would say that the Reality Temple on Earth is the real Nation of Islam. It's the real way in which those teachings should have been presented. It's not about, because it's not even about religion. Now, to my knowledge, Pharaoh Muhammad, the only reason why he used Islam, the only reason why he used religion was because religion isn't even about religion. And when you look at what Pharaoh Muhammad presented to us, he's the only one that brought God to us in the form of a man, to make God more real, to make God something that's not spooky. But in the current climate of Nation of Islam teachings, even though they say and teach that God is a man, they still present Allah, they still present Master Farad in a spooky manner. It's not real. So let me say that I was introduced to these teachings as a young child. And my relatives, I wasn't in a position as a child to join the Nation of Islam, but my relatives could see how much I was attracted to and wanted to be part of the Nation of Islam, that they gave me all the lessons, everything associated, all the material associated with the Nation of Islam. This was during the time that Elijah Muhammad was alive. My relatives gave me all the lessons, all the materials that they got being in the Nation of Islam. Hey, what's up there, Jay? Yeah, trucking is not easy, bro. Salute. People just don't know. But so as a child, man, this thing sucks. It's too heavy. This iPhone is too heavy for this stand. And all this shaking. You in Nebraska? I'm in Illinois. I don't want to be in Nebraska. So I was given as a child, all the materials that the Muslims got who was actual members of the Nation of Islam. Everything. Now, the difference between me and a lot of other brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam is that I never sat under Minister Malcolm X. I never sat under Farrakhan, Minister Jeremiah, or any of Elijah Muhammad's ministers. The only teachings that I know came directly from Elijah Muhammad. The teachings, all the messengers' books, all the lessons, I have by no minister. The only thing I know is the teachings. So I know the teachings because that's all I ever known. I never heard even my relatives. My relatives, they told me certain things, but they really didn't teach me too much either. Because they're not the teacher. The teacher is Elijah Muhammad. I'm going to say that again. The teacher is Elijah Muhammad, not Farrakhan, not Malcolm, not Minister Jeremiah or whoever, not Eric Muhammad, talking about up to date, not the Son of Man. The teacher is Elijah Muhammad. And his teacher was Wallace Fard Muhammad. Those are the teachers. Wallace Fard Muhammad taught Elijah Muhammad. But the teachers are the people, these men behind the lessons, all the messengers' books. Not Farrakhan, not Malcolm, not nobody. The teachers is Elijah Muhammad. And that's all I ever known. Nobody else. So when I tell you that's not Elijah Muhammad's teachings, I know what I'm talking about because I was given pure Elijah Muhammad teachings when I was a child. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing else. I don't know these interpretations by Malcolm X or Farrakhan or whoever. I don't know those interpretations. I don't know nothing about them. The representative or the minister is always subject to error. These ministers, these other teachers, Brother Wesley Muhammad, N.O.I, Brother Ben, all these people are subject to error. When you speak, and that's why when Malcolm spoke, every time he spoke, he said, Elijah Muhammad teach us this. Elijah Muhammad teach us that. If you're not saying that, and I would give Minister Eric Muhammad his props, because when Eric Muhammad teach, he does say, the messenger, Elijah Muhammad taught this. Elijah Muhammad taught that. Louis Farrakhan can teach for 4 hours. He can talk for 4 hours. And he very rarely says, well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teach this and Elijah Muhammad teach that. Because when he's teaching, and I know you like him, and he was a representative of Elijah, he was close to Elijah Muhammad, but that is not what he's presenting to us, is not the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, period. And see, for those who don't know the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, they wouldn't know. And the reason why they don't know is because they refuse to study themselves. Because if they study the material that Farrakhan is giving you, you will begin to see, hey, this is not Elijah Muhammad's teaching. Even if you study the books and the lessons that Farrakhan give you, you have to question him and say, hey, where you getting all this from? That's not what Elijah Muhammad said. And then you study the actions and the behavior of Elijah Muhammad, and you can tell that's not something that Elijah Muhammad would do. And the main thing, and we have heard this, but we ignore it, Elijah Muhammad made very clear, do not change my teachings. Do not revise my teachings. Don't you add to my teachings. That's what he said out of his mouth, and y'all just ignore those things. But see, they ignore those things because they're not listening to the teacher. They're listening to the student who is revising, who is altering, who is changing. Of which myself, since I'm not a believer, I'm not in the temple, I shouldn't care, but you need to know. You need to know. And the reason why Brother Ben don't know, the reason why Malcolm Flex TV don't know, the reason why N.O.I Muhammad don't know, Wesley Muhammad, because they are infatuated with personality and they refuse to study on their own and understand what the teachings is. Now, if this is Farrakhanism, that's different. If you really following Farrakhan, stop saying this is the teaching. I'm following Elijah Muhammad. Now, if you following Farrakhan, stop talking. Don't stop telling us that you are a follower or believe in Elijah Muhammad, because that's not his teaching. That's not his teaching. Simple as that. You are a Farrakhanite. You are a Muslim believer in Farrakhan, who used to be a former representative of Elijah Muhammad. He's no longer a representative of Elijah Muhammad because Elijah Muhammad is not here. Yeah, that's right, Scott. They Farrakhan babies. Elijah Muhammad is not here. You cannot follow a dead man. Farrakhan teach that Elijah Muhammad is still alive. Well, as far as we're concerned, he's dead. When was the last time you talked to Elijah Muhammad? When was the last time Farrakhan talked to Elijah Muhammad? according to the law of the United States, anybody missing for 7 years is considered dead. Elijah Muhammad is not here. He's a dead man. And Elijah Muhammad, yeah, you're right. Right, Scott. Elijah Muhammad is not here. He taught against that. Elijah Muhammad said, you cannot follow, that's his teaching, you cannot follow a dead man. He taught against that. But y'all following Elijah Muhammad. You can be influenced by Elijah Muhammad. You can be inspired by Elijah Muhammad, but you cannot follow Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad is not here. So I know the teachings because that's all I know. I don't know anything outside. I don't know nothing about what Malcolm was teaching or any of these other representatives, these ministers. I don't know, or even, like I told you, not even my relatives. I don't know. I don't know nothing about what they was talking about. What I got was pure Elijah Muhammad. Okay? So, by the time I'm 18 years old, I actually joined. Not follow, but I joined the Final Call Incorporated that was called and still being called the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam does not exist. That's why Louis Farrakhan does not have any legal right to none of the materials by the Nation of Islam, because he's not the Nation of Islam. He has no legal right to the Nation of Islam, period. The Nation of Islam is public domain. If I want to, I can be the Nation of Islam if I want to be. He has no legal right to the name Nation of Islam. Only Elijah Muhammad family. Wallace Muhammad dismantled the Nation of Islam way back in the day. He dismantled it. And he was a legal officer. He was a legal representative of the Nation of Islam. So what Farrakhan has is the Final Call Incorporated. The Nation of Islam, technically, in reality, does not exist. Does not exist. Farrakhan has no authority. N.O.I. Farrakhan has no authority behind the Nation of Islam. He has no legal right at all, period. Tell him to teach on that. Why don't they teach on that? Farrakhan is a Nation of Islam wannabe, trying to bring something back from the dead that should be allowed to be dead. That's what you need to do. Because actually, what he's done, he's actually spoiled the history of the Nation of Islam. That's what he's done. He's made the Nation of Islam a laughing stock, really. Some of you may not believe it, but that's what he's done. Now, so I joined when I was 18 years old. I joined the Nation of Islam under Farrakhan, not to follow him. He said, which he lied, he said he was bringing back the original teachings of Elijah Muhammad. And he lied. He lied. He does not get a pass for being a liar. There are many brothers and sisters, not only me, there's a lot of brothers and sisters who know the teachings, and they helped him and they found out he lied. He's a liar. What you are getting is not the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. What you're getting is Farrakhanism. So Farrakhan is a liar. He never had no intent to bring back the original teachings. And clearly you can see that this man wants praise and honor. He's the honor. He wants the praise and the honor his teacher got. When I first met Louis Farrakhan in person, he told me out of his mouth, I was there. He told all of us in person. I was standing almost right next to the man. He said, don't call me honorable. And there was some other names the brothers were saying too. He said, don't call me honorable. I'm just your brother. I'm bringing back Elijah Muhammad's teaching. That's what he told us. But you see right now, he's the honorable. He's sitting in the seat of the messenger. He's Elijah Muhammad. He's the third man in line behind Elijah Muhammad. He done really boosted himself up. When he told me in person, I'm just your brother. That's what he told me in person. Y'all don't know what y'all messing with. This man is a liar, manipulator, using you to take care of his family. He don't give a damn about black folks. He wish he was an entertainer. He wish he was like Nipsey Hussle. And he want to try to get the praise and all the hand claps the same way Michael Jackson was getting. That's what he wants. Using religion. If you really knew the teachings, you could see that. But the only thing you know, or these people know, is what Farrakhan said out of his mouth. They don't know the teachings. They don't know the history of Farrakhan. Somebody told me, man, you drinking the Kool-Aid. No, Farrakhan was friends with the man that's behind the phrase, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Jim Jones. Ask Farrakhan about his relationship with Jim Jones. Ask him. Ask Farrakhan what he really was doing when he called himself a hypocrite. Y'all gonna follow a man that come in your face and tell you, yeah, I was a hypocrite. But then all of a sudden, he's Mr. Know-It-All. There are a lot of brothers and sisters who never turned their back on Elijah Muhammad. But because they don't speak good like Farrakhan, because they're not eloquent, you just ignore them. They never turn their back. Hey, what's up there, Don? What's up, y'all? There's brothers and sisters that never turn their back on Elijah Muhammad. But you're going to choose to follow somebody who went back to drinking and smoking, who was a whoremonger, probably was eating pork, everything under the sun, trying to be an entertainer. This dude way out there, and all of a sudden, he's an expert. He's an expert on the teachings. And the only reason why y'all give him any kind of play is because he's articulate, because he speaks good, and because he was the national representative. And he sound like he know what he's talking about. Anybody can go to a Quran, anybody can go to a Bible and throw some stuff together. Anybody can do that. I remember one day I was pretending to be a preacher around some of my siblings, and they actually thought I was saying some good stuff. I was just making some crap up out of my head, talking about the scripture. Anybody can do that. That's what Farrakhan do. Y'all call it study. That's what y'all call it. Y'all call it studying. It's not study. It's just going to the Bible, Quran, just making some stuff up, make it sound good, because he knows that you're not trying to study yourself. You're not thinking for yourself. So the reason why I'm more effective than young Pharaoh is because I am actually inside all of this. I see all this firsthand. I'm a part of this. Because all of the information that young Pharaoh put out is good. But see, when you're dealing with me, not only can I use the documentation that young Pharaoh bring, but I'm in the inside. I was one of them. I know the teachers. Young Pharaoh don't know the teachers. Young Pharaoh was never inside the house. There's no need to call Minister Farrakhan Farrakhan, like a con artist. There's no need to do all that. Just bring reality. Make these people see. When you come to the Realities Temple, it's very rare that I bring documents. It's very rare that I talk about my research and my information, because that's not what I'm dependent upon. I want you to think, because see, many of you already know. I'm not telling you what you don't know. I'm not telling you what you don't know. You already know. What I want you to do is think for yourself. I want you to think for yourself. I want you to use common sense. I want you to use logic. I want you to be able to reason. I want you to analyze. I want you to look at it just like it was a crime scene. That's what I want you to do. I want to put you in a position that nobody exploits you. Whether it's Farrakhan or even myself. Think for yourself. Be critical in your thinking. Now look at these people here. They want us to believe that the Nation of Islam had nothing to do with the murder of Malcolm X. Okay? But at the same time, look how nasty they are. Now, I was on, what's his name? I was on that Malcolm X Flex TV, whatever he call itself, Malcolm Flex TV. They call me troll, all kinds of names. Because, now I'm not calling them any names. I'm speaking in general terms. They are nasty, arrogant, vulgar. They'll threaten your life. Oh, but they didn't do nothing to Malcolm X. I was in the temple. I was in the temple 2 times, and they threatened me. They threatened to beat me up. Hey, what's up there, Marcus? No, they threatened to beat me up in the temple 2 times. These was not government agents. This was not the CIA. There's an interview that Sonetta TV is getting ready to put down, interviewing Eric Muhammad. And Eric Muhammad is saying the same kind of threatening stuff. Talk about you can't beat you up. We throw down. We ain't no church boys. Now at the same time, they only saying this to soul brothers and sisters. They only make these threats and beat up and kill soul brothers and sisters. That's all. Now look, at least nine Nation of Islam members have been murdered. At least 9 that I know of. What did they do? Nothing. They put Elijah Muhammad in prison for about 4 or 5 years, I believe. What did they do? Because the government put Elijah Muhammad in prison. Nothing. These people burned down Nation of Islam temple. They burned up their Muhammad Speak trucks. These folks did all kinds of stuff. What did they do? What did they do? Now you have these stories. There's no evidence. Right. They're gang members. Matter of fact, like I posted in the video, Pharaoh said that. And that guy Don Macon talking about there's a code that you have to live by. But the code they talking about is criminal activity. That's